feel like at this point, these reviews have started to become a lot harder to do. And I'm not talking from a win-loss point of view where, you know, you're just a bit more flat and it's harder to think of positive things to say. And yes, that is definitely an aspect of it, but I think there's always a lot to develop on when that's the case. So I'm definitely not looking at that as an excuse for finding this a little bit more difficult, but I feel like it's because of the fact that it's almost too easy to blame all of the injuries for every loss that we've had so far this year, yet it's too hard to break everything down where we fall apart without mentioning the injuries. So it is tough because I can ramble on about the injuries all day, and that's what we're all pointing our fingers towards at the moment. Obviously, they're impacting the club. There's no secret there. But I also want to steer clear from that and talk about other reasons and other things and other positives to look forward to, you know, to mix up the conversation, if you will. So, you know, I know there was a lot of uproar about the umpires on Wednesday night. Obviously, it's Sunday now at the time of recording, so it's been a few days. It's been probably way too long, if I'm being honest, but it's been a few days, and I definitely prefer to steer clear of blaming umpires for results, and I don't think they had any impact on the results. That's not me just trying to, you know, avoid any controversy there. I genuinely don't think they had anything to do with the result. I don't think they help, but, you know, I'm not going to linger on that. But, you know, now that Sunday is said and done, I will talk about the spectacle of Anzac Eve, Anzac Day, Anzac Week. I think it's a very special time on the football calendar. Obviously, you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody that doesn't love and, you know, appreciate the way that we go about it, the way that we celebrate, you know, the war veterans, and I guess in the current men and women serving at the moment. So it's awesome. I think Anzac Eve really encapsulates that really well, the way that, you know, the lights, the lighting of the cauldron, you got the phone torches all around the ground, the last post. I think it's amazing. It's an incredible, honestly, I think the pre-game of Anzac Eve is more of a spectacle than Anzac Day itself, in terms of the football, obviously. And I think that's just because of the, you know, the time of the day, being at night, with all the lights, it just looks a lot more special. And something about it, it feels a lot cooler, I think. You know, obviously a bit of a disrespectful way to say it, but it's a lot cooler than what it is on Anzac Day. Obviously, Anzac Day is the marquee game of the week. I don't think anything will change that, sadly. But, you know, obviously we're in a really good position in the sense that we play Anzac Day Eve with the first game of the round. We have a big opportunity to put on a showcase. So, absolutely love it. But I'll get into the game itself. Obviously, it's been a few days. You've probably all had your digests by now. You've read into it. You've complained about it. You've picked your things that you enjoyed about it and all the rest of it. But I'll give a quick rundown. I do apologise for the lack of videos recently as well. I'm just not time poor, but I'm very poor at organising myself. So that's a reflection on me. I'll definitely work on getting better at that one and bringing these videos out to you. But be sure to everyone, a quick little plug as well. Wednesday nights on the Jumper Punch channel, I am a part of the Forever Rivals show that we do over there. And it's basically, if you don't already know, there's myself supporting Richmond, there's a Carlton supporter, a Bombers supporter, and a Magpie supporter. The big four clubs, rivals, and we just talk garbage for probably a couple of hours on a Wednesday night. We talk about some of the topics throughout the week. We talk about our team's performances. We give each other a bit of shit as well. It's a bit of fun. It is a bit of fun. You know, so if you're not doing anything on a Wednesday night, or even if you are, you know, you can watch it back at any time. Head over there, watch it out. Show some Tiger love as well, because it's very heavily Carlton dominated at the moment. And I definitely would love the support. So it's called the Jumper Punch. I'll post about it on the Instagram page every Wednesday as a bit of a heads up. But we're live from 7:30 every Wednesday night. Just jump across there and check it out. But anyway, back to the game itself. It was a really boring game to watch. And I had text messages coming through all night, up until halftime at least, you know, from neutral fans saying, you know, obviously you guys are winning at the half, but you can't tell me this is an enjoyable game. And it absolutely wasn't. There was nothing that made me go, wow, this is a spectacle. You know, it was a boring game. I don't know if that was down to the way Melbourne played or if that was the way that we played or a mixture of both, but it was bad. The only positive is that we were hanging with them. Obviously, we were a point up at halftime, which is, you know, considering where Melbourne are at, it's probably a good result to be up at the half, even if it was a boring, low-scoring game. Obviously, things did go downhill from there, but if you do check the stats, I don't think we were too far off the mark. You know, for example, we equaled in the inside 50s with Melbourne, so we had just as many opportunities to score, and we only had about 23 less disposals than they did. Obviously, there's other stats as well, but a couple of the main ones that I noticed, I didn't think we were too far behind them in a lot of the key stats. Obviously, a few were probably lacking in, but for the most part, I don't think we were too far off the mark. So, good signs, again, not to throw back to injuries, but considering who we're missing, to be, you know, not too far behind one of the better teams in the competition, it's a real positive. So I'm trying to look at the positives where I can, and I think that's definitely one of them. But we do battle to find different avenues to go, and I think our lack of a key forward is genuinely starting to hurt. Hopefully Noah Bolter's not too far off. We know Lynch, obviously, is still a fair while, so McKelty, I think, is really improving. I think he's presenting. He's, you know, putting himself in the right spots. He's competing hard, but I don't think he's going to be that pillar that we need just for the moment. I thought Morris looked electric. Obviously, Richmond gave him man of the match from their point of view, and, you know, he could potentially tidy up in front of the big sticks a little bit more, but honestly, that's just being picky at this point. I did criticise early and say that, you know, I want him to hit the scoreboard. That's, you know, the small forward, sorry. We all know that they pressure, they run, they get at the feet, but they do kick goals. And I feel like Morris was lacking in that, but he's started to hit the scoreboard consistently now. And if he's kicking his 1 to 2, maybe 3 a week, then he's absolutely doing his job. And especially if he continues the pressure that he is putting on these opposition players as well. Because you can just see when they know that he's chasing, you hear the crowd roar that little bit, and their kick is a little bit more shaky when he's sort of chasing them. And that's if he doesn't catch them, that is. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. Shea had one of his more quiet games for the season, which is still saying something because I still thought he played pretty well. But just by his standards this season, it was relatively quiet. Dusty looked threatening at times. So there was definitely some positives of the night. I think the biggest one for me was Hugo Ralphsmith, and if you do follow the Instagram, you would have seen I named him my player of the match. I thought he was outstanding for someone that hasn't had the opportunities at senior level in recent times to come in the way he did and play the way that he did. I thought was really outstanding. So I loved what I saw from him. I didn't think there was a lot more he could have done right, which obviously great signs. Hopefully he keeps his spot and just continues to build and build and build. Now, that's basically, you know, in a nutshell, that's sort of all I mentioned for the Melbourne game. It's probably, like I said, it's probably been too long since the game itself now, so we're all sort of across everything, all the nitty-gritty stuff. I just wanted to give my quick thoughts on it, but I did read this article, and I know a lot of you would have seen it because I saw it circulating all the Richmond fan pages and everything like that, but the Ned's betting agency, obviously, they've got a blog page, and they put up some really good articles at times. Now, I'm not sure of his real name, but the author's name on the Ned's website is Guy Who Likes Sport, and he wrote an article on, I'm reading it off here, by the way, but he wrote an article on Ned's blog page stating that the result at the moment is entirely irrelevant for a Richmond football fan's experience, and I tend to agree with him. Like, obviously, you know, the win-loss is what you want to look at, and obviously you want to win every week, and you don't want to go to a game thinking, oh, we're going to lose. But I think it is irrelevant at this stage because, like I said, again, we're going back to those injuries, but they do play a massive part, and there's only so much you can expect to do against, you know, good teams when you're playing with guys that have played less than 20 games. So I think we're going to start to appreciate the little things, and I think we all are now. I think now that a lot of us have sort of come to terms, with where we're at as a club and, you know, where we're going to finish this year or how we're going to go this year, I think we are starting to appreciate those little things a little bit more. And he mentioned a few, and I agree with all of these, so I'm going to read them out. He's written here, Tom Brown's kicking is good, and I think that's an understatement. I think his kicking is outstanding. Tyler Young is solid, absolutely, and he's only building, and he's got Ben Miller, who's also building alongside him. Obviously not as young as Tyler, but he's, you know, in terms of games played, young in that sense. McKelty Lafau competes hard, which I mentioned earlier, and absolutely he does. I'm looking forward to seeing him as the second or third tall. He has the potential to be something really quite special, I think. Shea Bolton is doing more team things than he has in the past, and it just goes without saying his score involvements are higher this year than I think they've been previously. I haven't actually fact-checked that, so don't get in the comments and blast me if that's not the case, but it feels like it just by watching it. But he's definitely doing more team things than he has in the past. 9 times out of 10 got in previous seasons, if he's on the boundary, he just takes a ping where I've noticed he's lowering his eyes. He's looking for a teammate, looking to get other players involved. And I think he's really starting to step up as a bit of a leader of the club. He's obviously probably the most talented guy on the field that we've got. But he's really starting to, to take on that role as a bit of a leader as well, which I'm really impressed with. Noah Bolter, he's got here, looks good as a forward. I think he did look good as a forward. Obviously, we've always got him if we need to throw him down back, but I think what we saw from him up forward was impressive as well. And then the last one, sorry, while I turn this phone call off. The last one here, Adam Uze seems like a decent guy, and I think we all knew that coming into the season, that because these press conferences and the way he spoke, the way he presented himself, we all love Uze, and I love his lack of complacency as well, and I love the way he goes about it, the way he speaks about the club, the way he speaks about his players. You can sense a real genuine care for the players. When he says we brought him off the ground, he's too important to risk for one game. I like that. Obviously, you want to see your best players out there at all times, but I do genuinely feel he has that care for the players, and I think that's so important. Obviously, the wins and losses, they'll come. The wins will come, but I think what we've seen from Uze really early is great. I love the signs that we've got from him, so hopefully we continue in that same sort of path in terms of him as a coach and the way we go forward with him, because I love what I'm seeing from him so far, and I don't know what everyone else thinks. I haven't really gauged anybody else's thoughts yet, so let me know in the comments what you do think of Uze, but I'm a big fan. So that's pretty much wraps for this video. Like I said, it's a bit of a later one, so I do apologise about that. Just wanted to give my quick thoughts on that one, and obviously, share that blog from Guy Who Likes Sport. I wish I knew his real name. If you know it, let me know, because I'd love to shout him out directly, because he does some good work there, and I'm pretty sure he is a Richmond fan himself as well. So the things that he says, he feels the same way that we feel, and it's you can sense that when reading the blog. Obviously, the full blog on the Ned's betting agency page, you'll be able to read the full thing. I just took some key takeaways to read out to you guys today. But again, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate your support. The Instagram has blown up. I've seen the followers come through here on the YouTube, and I really appreciate it. If you haven't already and you do like the content, or you did like just this video, please give it a like, or subscribe. Whatever it is, any little thing that you do does genuinely help a lot. The Instagram as well, TigerDen_TV. Jump across there for some content as well. Hopefully you all enjoy that. It's like I said, it's been doing some good numbers recently, and I'm quite not impressed, but I'm shocked with some of the growth that I've had recently, and it's obviously all thanks to you guys. So I genuinely really appreciate it. And again, Wednesday nights, Forever Rivals. It's a live stream. You can get in the comments. Your comments, could get shared on the screen as well. Jump on, support the Tigers. Give us something. Give us a bit of love, because we're in need of it right now. And let me tell you, I'm on there against a Bombers supporter, a Collingwood supporter, and a Carlton supporter. All three teams are doing quite well at the moment, and we are, in a bit of a rare situation where we are the odd ones out who aren't sort of in a successful period. And it's a bit harder to back us in, so I need some support. So if you're not doing anything on Wednesday night, jump across, get in the comments, and back me and the Tigers up, because I could definitely use the support. So again, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate all the love. Hopefully we'll be talking about a win sooner rather than later, but fingers crossed then. But until the Fremantle preview, thank you again, and go Tigers.